Because that's like a crazy story, right? Of like how that dish got started, and it's not even really Chinese, right? I mean, it was created. I mean, do you know the story? I mean, yeah, yeah. You're kind of shaking your head. You tell us. You tell it. There's a lot of myths, urban myths out there about this particular dish.
I'll let Angel take this one. He's
Let's.
well in depth with knowledge of the
I
history
mean,
of General Tso and Chinese food.
if you want to talk about Chinese food in general, majority of the dishes that you see in Chinese food today were invented here in the United States. Cashew chicken, orange chicken. With General Tso, you can trace its roots all the way back to Taiwan. That's where it really started, with a chef named C.K. Peng. And I believe it was in the 70s. Is that right, Min?
When it came to New York?
Yeah, yeah. He eventually took it to New York City, or some of his, it became very popular in Taiwan, and some of the chefs in Taiwan took it to New York City.
Interesting.
Yeah. Unbeknownst to him.
Oh, okay. So he was still back in Taiwan, and some other chefs.
It was popularized in Taiwan.
I see.
You know,
I see. Interesting.
that sweet, sticky, orange, acidic sauce is kind of like a Taiwanese thing.
Okay.
And it mutated over time. It transformed over time. But when other chefs loved it and eventually brought it into New York City, they popularized it in New York City, unbeknownst to Chef C.K. Peng.
Sorry, my dog's here.
And then spread like wildfire, throughout the 70s, 80s. And then, around that time, like other similar dishes like sesame chicken, orange chicken, those were invented in New York City as well.
Wow. And that's crazy. Yeah.
So,
So if somebody that is kind of crazy, how close is it to what's out right now? How close is it to what was in New York City in the 70s? Or has it transformed from even then to now?
well, I think, when you're discussing Chinese food, oftentimes if you're talking to an American, they're thinking about it in the lens of Chinese American.
Yeah, that's true.
The American view. So like I said, a lot of dishes were invented in America, so it couldn't, like, Chinese food, according to Americans, couldn't be more American.
Yeah.
It's deeply embedded into the culture of America.
Sure.
But that being said, Chinese food takes different shapes and forms all over the world. For example, if you ever talk to someone from Peru, actually a lot of Peruvian dishes are heavily, heavily influenced by Chinese food. And so there's a very, very strong Peruvian Chinese scene. I would say that the British Chinese scene is heavily influenced by Hong Kong, and if you go to UK, there's a lot of dishes that are totally different there.
Yeah, 100%.
And so yeah, the translation from Taiwan to New York City, I think originally it didn't have broccoli because American broccoli is not typically eaten in Asia. But then American broccoli was added because that's what the produce.
It was here.
The available produce. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what Chinese food is like the story of immigrants coming to America, wanting that familiarity of what they remembered, but then only having access to the ingredients that you have in the groceries, the local grocers. So
that seems like a story from, a lot of immigrant, right, cultures, whatever type of food it may be, right? They're trying to bring something familiar, but they've got to look around at what they have and sort of make it work. And then bam, you've got this fusion of sorts, something new. That's cool.
It's a beautiful story of the roots of immigrants in America.
Sure.
And it's a story of survival in some ways, right? To
100%.
try and make it,
100%. And keep a piece of home with you, because food is home.